Addressing the United Nations Conventions Against Corruption, President Aquino renewed the commitment of his administration in fighting corrupt practices in the government. Jolo Gutierrez has the report.
The Aquino administration renewed its commitment to institutionalize a system in the country against graft and corruption. In his speech during the first state conference on the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, the President reiterated that the first steps under the 21 Action Agenda of the UNCAC are now in place.
It is fair to say, however, that there is no gulf between my agenda and the public's collective desire to curb corruption, to end the vicious cycle of self-centeredness, secrecy, and apathy, and to replace it with a virtuous cycle, where the government truly works for its people, allowing the people to know that true public service is not only possible, but eminently doable. This would further empower the government. This was our people's collective cry during the 2010 elections when they voted for the idea behind our campaign for the presidency, which was, simply put, kung walang korap, walang mahirap. Where there is no corruption, there will be no poverty. And our administration has since heeded their call and worked non-stop to shine daylight on our government.
A resolution was submitted to the President by the Technical Working Group that will monitor the country's compliance in the global fight against corruption. The Philippines is one of the more than 100 country signatories under the UNCAC.
The very first element we identify in the fight against corruption is that no one can be above the law. It should not matter what position you hold in the bureaucratic ladder. If you do wrong by the people, then you should be held accountable. We have followed through on this belief. We have filed cases against the former president, who is now under hospital arrest. Like-minded reformists in the legislature have removed from office a Chief Justice who chose to lie on his statement of assets and liabilities and net worth. This after they impeached an ombudsman who apparently saw it fit to put the interests of our political patrons over those of the people.
Ombudsman Conchita Carpio said that the country has more reasons to celebrate because of the gains the country had received from the International Transparency Index due to reforms.
Office of the Ombudsman is pleased to report that the Philippines has completed the first phase of the UNCAC review process, particularly on its compliance with the chapters on criminalization, law enforcement, and international cooperation. Both the executive summary and the full text of the UNCAC country report has been submitted to the United Nations.
Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno, on her part, vowed to improve the judiciary system through e-court.
This is just one illustration of how technology can be harnessed as an anti-corruption tool. The e-courts are currently placed in Quezon City, Mr. Speaker, and are targeted to be further rolled out by mid-2014 in other locations.
Senate President Franklin Drilon and House Speaker Feliciano Belmonte pushed for a more coordinated action by passing measures significant in the fight against corruption.
We have also created an internal working group to coordinate the anti-corruption-related work being undertaken in all the offices of the House of Representatives. This group will work on proposals towards the Philippines' compliance with the United Nations Convention Against Corruption.
This is the first time where the President, the Speaker of the House, the Senate President, the Chief Justice, and the Ombudsman were present. All the top officials of the government are here. It only signifies two things in my mind. First, the sincerity, the recognition of the sincerity of the President in pursuing the anti-corruption agenda, the credibility of the President's program for good governance, and second, the credibility or fear on Chief Carpio Morales. That's why we're all here.
Meanwhile, the President welcomed Congress' plan to establish an oversight committee that will monitor the Philippines' compliance with the UNCAC. This is Jolo Gutierrez for News at 1, Junior Edition.